If you're stuck in the intermediate trap where I spent a little too long there myself, this video is going to show you how to escape it. So my first tip is to go from studying and learning the language to using and becoming the language. Let's be honest, we stay in student mode for entirely too long. I know how important that was in the beginning because everything was new. The vocabulary was new. Conjugations was new. The accents were new. It was all so new. And so what happened is we were stuck being a student, okay? We had this mindset of I have to learn Spanish. Well, once you're intermediate, you don't have to learn Spanish. You now know Spanish. And you have to change that energy from I am learning Spanish to get confidence that you know Spanish. That includes starting to use the language, speaking the language, writing the language. When you were a beginner, you might not have been comfortable speaking Spanish. You might not have been comfortable texting someone back in Spanish, but now you know. And so in order to get to advance, you have to start using the tools and the education and the information that you received along your way. So believe it or not, it's just a mindset shift from I'm learning Spanish to I know Spanish. Now, I'm not saying once you're intermediate, there's no more to learn. There's a lot to learn, and it's actually quite difficult at times, which is why people get stuck. The second reason you may be stuck in the intermediate zone is you are comfortable listening to the same things, like dreaming Spanish, which you guys know I like dreaming Spanish. However, you have to get your ear a bit more advanced. In dreaming Spanish, they actually babyfy you a little bit, right? They speak clearly so that you can understand everything. They speak in a way giving you a lot of context of what's being said. And so it kind of gives this misconception that, oh, I understand a lot of Spanish. And then you get on the street and you speak to a real native and you are constantly stuck, right? You're constantly like, oh, that was too fast. Can you repeat it? Can you slow down? And so how you can work on this is making sure that you are listening to more advanced content. Now, if you've been listening to my channel for a while, many of you may know I'm late to the Dreaming Spanish game anyway, right? So let me tell you where I was getting my comprehensible inputs, which I think actually trained my ear remarkably. It is very rarely that I don't know what a native is saying. And it was Caso Cerrado. Caso Cerrado. Okay, so it's a little drama judge type of show. It's like the Spanish version of Judge Judy.
Y dime lo que exiges para resolver este caso.
Bueno, doctora, yo vengo a demandarla a ella por ayuda psicológica inmediata.
¿Quién es ella? ¿Quién es?
Mi hija, ella es mi hija.
But what I like about listening to this show is it's every accent you can imagine. It's real Spanish. And now I can watch the show without even thinking about it. I can laugh along with the jokes. It really enhanced my vocabulary because every region speaks differently. Every accent is so different. And because I had been watching that my entire Spanish journey, I really feel like my ear is very advanced to Spanish. Another way you may be staying in your comfort zone is still saying the sentences that you said when you were a beginner, or when you had just started becoming intermediate, right? The same basic sentences, tengo hambre, you know, is like, you know more now. You've learned a lot more vocabulary and it's time to use it. That is how you advance your Spanish. It's time to actually start using the hard stuff. Now, this way that people stay comfortable, which also keeps them in intermediate, is only taking classes with the same teacher their entire journey. That do not work. Let me tell you why that don't work. Imagine if I was teaching you English, right? Then you would only know the way that I talk. You would only know the subjects that I talk about. You would not know slang from a different region. You would not know different ways that people put their words together. You would just know me. So you have to remember, a lot of these Spanish teachers, they're constantly slowing down to appease your level. And if you started with them beginner, they might start talking a little faster as you get more advanced, but they're still keeping that pacifier in your mouth. Do you know what I mean? And so if you take classes with multiple teachers, they have different personalities, they speak at different speeds, they have different vocabulary, and it really will give you a full immersion experience. If you ever want to speak Spanish with different Spanish teachers, I have a full speaking Spanish program and the link is in the description. The third reason you may be stuck in intermediate is you're simply just not challenging yourself anymore. Listen, I know you had to go through all those phases of learning vocabulary, learning conjugations, learning this, learning that. And by the time you finally get to intermediate, you're like, I just want to speak. It's almost like the honeymoon phase is over. When you're intermediate, you're not so excited to learn new vocabulary. You're not so excited to learn, the past tense. It's like, I went through all of that and now I have to keep learning and keep learning. Yes. It's a journey. So some things that you should be focusing on is advanced vocabulary, subjuntivos, indirect object, direct, and all the many conjugations of the past tense. But what no one ever breaks down is you have to change the entire pattern of how you speak about yourself. Because in English, we just say, I took a shower. I went to the store. I. However, in Spanish, they focus on the object. Who is receiving the thing? So reflexive is me amo. I love myself. A direct object would be te amo. Te amo. See? I love you. Now, why is this important to go from intermediate to advanced? Because now you're switching the way you would say a sentence in your native language, okay? So I would say in English, I love you. I do love you all. I love you, right? But no, in Spanish, who is receiving the love? You are. So it's te amo, okay? You are receiving the love. So that takes practice. That takes time for you to actually start speaking that way. And the best way to practice that is to actually start speaking that way. I know that sounds very repetitive, but that's the truth. You can't just read what reflexives are. You have to actually start using them. An example of indirect object is le doy un libro. See? Le doy un libro. I gave him a book. Now, even though I gave him a book, who's receiving the book? He is. So I need to have my brain think about him before I think about myself. And that is not how we think in English. It's all about us. But for Spanish, you have to train your brain to think about who's receiving the action before you start speaking. Let me know in the comments if you want me to create a video, kind of like a cheat code of how you can start speaking in this advanced way. If you like this video, like and subscribe so that you won't miss new Spanish tips and we can continue to grow together. I always read all of you guys' comments and you help me out as much as I hope I'm helping you. If you want to continue our journey together, go ahead and check out one of these videos over here. Nos vemos pronto. Ciao.